Hey guys, it's Sneaky Pete here, and today I want to bring you a review for the new Simrell FMJ. Now this is one of the most simple and effective performance enhancers that I've ever seen. It will totally change how your DynaVap works and also what it's capable of, and it's only $10 US. It goes to show that the cap we know and love definitely has room for improvement, and it's remarkable how this tiny little addition will make your DynaVap feel like a brand new device. The FMJ, or Full Metal Jacket, is made by the Simrell collection, and I did a live interview with him where he goes everything in detail. I'll post a link to that right here, and if you haven't watched it yet, I would definitely recommend you do so, because it's always great to hear it directly from the creator. The FMJ is a thin sleeve that fits around your DynaVap cap, and it's made from 99.9% pure copper. It has a slit directly opposite the logo, and a slight oval shape so that it better fits on your cap. The Full Metal Jacket will work on any captive cap, so if you have a very old non-captive cap, it won't work on that. It's also not made to work in an induction heater. It's designed specifically to use with a torch, and I would only recommend using a single flame torch to get the best results. The Full Metal Jacket is easy to install and just as easy to remove. To install it on any captive cap, hold the digger outer on the cap between your thumb and forefinger, and then orient the FMJ so that the logo is upside down, and then slide that over the top of the cap with the logo ending up right above the tip of your thumb. An easy way to know if you have it oriented correctly is that when the cap is sitting flat on a table, the Simrell logo will be oriented in the proper direction. If you want to take it off, simply slide it back over the top of your cap, essentially reverse the process that you just did, and it's going to come off just as easy. Copper really isn't a new concept in vaporizers. The Vatman has had a gold-plated copper oven, and it's been out for over 20 years now. And then the Anvil came out last year and showed everybody what copper can do when it's utilized in a different manner. People use copper because of its remarkable thermal properties. There are very few materials that do a better job at transferring and distributing heat than copper does, and most of them are really expensive. However, copper does a very similar job, and it's infinitely more affordable. So what's the impact of changing your stainless steel cap into a stainless steel and copper cap? Just when I describe it like that, you can tell this is going to have a huge impact, and most of those changes are very positive. The first change, and this cannot be understated, is you no longer have to spin your DynaVap when you heat it with a torch. This is probably the biggest sticking point when it comes to new people using DynaVaps, and this $10 accessory will completely eliminate the need to spin your DynaVap. As copper is so good at conducting heat, it will efficiently distribute the heat all throughout the cap, rather than you needing to spin it so that your torch doesn't create a hot spot. For me, this is worth the $10 price of admission alone, but there are numerous other advantages as well. Not only is this 3 grams of copper going to help distribute the heat, but it's also going to add a huge amount of heat retention as well. Now keep in mind there's 2 different ways you can aim to use the FMJ, to add more power or to not add more power, and the additional heat retention is going to benefit you whichever way you're going for. If you don't want to add more power, well, that increased heat retention is going to act as a buffer, giving you a longer time to complete your DynaVap hit. Everyone's familiar with the mad scramble of heating up your DynaVap, hearing that click, putting down your lighter, getting it into a water piece while it's still hot so that you can complete your hit. But with the FMJ, you don't need to worry about that, because the increase in thermal mass is going to add a heat insulating layer, meaning that you're no longer in a scramble from when you hear that click to when you get it in a water piece. If you are looking to add more power, the increased thermal mass is going to add completely new heating capabilities to your DynaVap. You're adding about 4 times the amount of material on here, and that increased and improved heat retention is going to lead to a way bigger hit. I use this in a tip with one of our Sneaky Pete half bowl converters, and you can get an insane amount of vapor from that tiny little half bowl when you utilize the FMJ. For all the people looking to maximize the value from their material, adding this $10 accessory is a no-brainer. Adding on an FMJ is like putting a big warm jacket over your cap. It's going to help retain that heat substantially better to keep the cap warmer over time. If you're looking to get the most possible vapor from your tip, aiming for a single hit full extraction, I think the FMJ is the easiest way to achieve that with a DynaVap. The last benefit of the FMJ is the click buffer that it adds in. In general, with the DynaVap, you want to respect the click, as if you heat it much longer after you hear the click, you're going to end up scorching your material. With the FMJ on your tip though, I've heated my tip 5 seconds after the click with no scorching at all, just maximum dark ABV. This buffer is not only the key to adding more power, but it also again serves to make your DynaVap experience easier. If you struggle with the click, this gives you a little flexibility to the process, meaning that you have a few extra seconds of reaction time to stop your heating. Now, as much as I love this little $10 enhancer, it's not without its drawbacks, and the first thing that I don't like about it is it makes your DynaVap cap retain heat way longer. One thing people complain about with the anvil is how long it stays hot for, and when you add a copper FMJ onto your DynaVap cap, it retains heat a crazy amount longer than with a regular DynaVap setup. With the way that it fits on your cap, I find I more twist and lift your cap to get it off rather than just straight pull it off, and you simply can't do that while the copper is hot, so you're left waiting for it to cool down or using some sort of tool to remove it. If you like or find yourself needing to do back-to-back hits, I'd recommend getting 2 different caps or using something like our metal DynaVap rest, as that's going to drink the heat up from that copper way more than it just sitting out in the open. After my first 20-25 hits or something like that, I definitely needed to adjust the copper because it felt a little loose. Copper's quite a malleable metal, so it's easy to adjust with your hands. I just literally gave it a good pinch with my fingers on here, and now it has a really nice tight fit, but you do want to check it periodically to make sure that it's nice and tight on your cap. Finally, it loses that beautiful shiny look very quickly. Anytime you're blasting something with strong heat from a butane torch, it's going to modify that material. And after using the FMJ for a dozen or so hits, the metal is dull and it's no longer shiny. It doesn't have any impact on how it functions, but as you can see, it's just not nearly as pretty. So how do we actually use the FMJ? Well, first we're going to put it on a cap just like I showed you, and then you put that on any tip just like normal. Once that's on your tip, you're going to grab a single flame lighter, and the little S logo that we showed on the FMJ, we're going to use that as a target for our single flame torch. The flame of your torch should be about the same length as the FMJ, so you want to adjust your torch height accordingly, and then you're going to apply that flame to the logo. Now, as we're not spinning it, but we're rather keeping the flame in one place, after a few seconds of heating, you're going to notice a change of color on the section where your flame is pointed at. If you move your torch closer to the FMJ, the spot becomes larger, and if you move your torch further away, the spot becomes smaller. Essentially, what you're trying to do is aim your flame so that it's pointing at the logo, but then also calibrate your distance so the size of the color change is the same size as the logo. It was quite a clever way to show people how to properly use it, as when you heat it in that methodology, you'll get the best results. I find the results between hits to be quite similar, but the primary point of difference is going to be how quickly you find that optimal flame position and how well you hold it. There is a learning curve, it will take you a little bit of time, but as soon as you just sort of notice what the color change is and how your lighter position affects it, you'll quickly dial it in. On the other hand, if that sounds sort of complicated to you, you can absolutely just point your lighter anywhere at the FMJ and just go until it clicks. If you're doing it like that though, I would definitely stop when it clicks, as you're just not utilizing it exactly how it's made to be used. Now, if you want to use the FMJ simply to remove the need to spin and you're not looking to increase the power, then you just want to stop as soon as it clicks. If you stop as soon as it clicks, it's going to hit in a very similar manner. Keep in mind it's not going to be identical though, as we are modifying something, but it's not going to be adding a substantial amount of power like that, and you can still get nice green ABV if you want. On the other hand, if you want to supercharge it, you're going to want to go past the click, and you want to do a really good job at optimizing your flame position. When you have a really good flame position and you're just changing the color of that logo the entire time, and then you push it 3, 4, even 5 seconds after the click, you are going to completely clear out that chamber in one hit with the darkest sort of ABV that you can get. Make no mistake that you have to get really dark ABV with this, you just can get super dark ABV much easier than you can with a regular DynaVap tip without adding one of these on there. Overall, the Simrell Full Metal Jacket is an excellent DynaVap accessory that comes in at a remarkably low price. If you're a DynaVap aficionado, you owe it to yourself to at least try one of these. The price of admission is so low, I really don't think it has to enhance the DynaVap experience all that much to be worthwhile, but in this case, it enhances the DynaVap experience a tremendous amount, making the value on it insane. It's going to take some adjustment from your regular process. Your DynaVap cap will stay hot way longer, and I don't really think it enhances the cap on tip experience. However, all the beneficial attributes far outweigh any of the negative aspects that it's going to add, and kudos to Austin for releasing such a super low priced accessory that adds so much to the DynaVap experience. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Keep it green, keep it sneaky, and we'll see you next time.